Hi, my name is Tisha Ringel, and I am doing my presentation on child development. Just a couple brief things about me, in case you didn't know. This is my last class here at Colorado Christian. I plan to attend graduate school here in Indiana at Grace University in January. I have four beautiful daughters, and just a fun fact, I've actually had one daughter graduate or complete college before me. Here's just a slide on my four girls. It gives you a couple pictures of them all together, tells you in which order they are, and the daughter who just graduated from Indiana University in May. Sorry for that introduction, but I thought because these are short classes, I never get a chance to adequately introduce myself or my passion, and my passion is children. So I chose child development as a topic for my final research. I plan to discuss the stages of child development, some common depression associated with children, child-related careers that one can pursue, and schooling that's needed. To make sure, let me back up. I'm a parent of four children, and it's important to me to see children and parents educated in the treatment and the overall well-being of children to make sure they develop correctly and effectively, and to make sure parents understand coping techniques as well as treatment for their children. There are many factors that contribute to both the physical and psychological growth of children. Genes, the environmental, and the interaction between two forces determine how kids grow physically and mentally as well. This was from my Cherry article, 2016. To completely understand how children grow, changes, and mature over the life, one must understand the theories of the stages in development as well as the experiences. Not to bore you with my complete paper, but I started out with the milestones, both physical and mental milestones of children. Developmental milestones go further than when your child receives their first tooth, walks, or talks. Milestones can be a number of different things, such as physical growth, intellectual development, social and mental growth, and language growth or language development. Even newborn infants are actively taking in information and learning new things. In addition to gathering new information about the people and the world around them, babies are constantly discovering new things about themselves. That came from my Cherry article, 2016. So, what does all this mean exactly? I started with the physical milestones. They are sensory milestones derived from birth. Or believed to be derived from birth. Babies attempt to mirror image their parents by watching them or tracking them with their eyes. The next one is a cognitive milestones. They were considered to be the most important step towards development. Adults often don't acknowledge the rate in which children advance. Even newborn infants are actively taking in information and learning new things in addition to gathering new information about people around them. Babies are constantly discovering new things about themselves. This is probably the most outstanding thing I read because I didn't realize that even infants at birth learn things such as vocal sounds. The next one was social and emotional milestones. They're probably harder to see as they're more the inside of a child instead of the physical trait of a child. But because physical milestones are easier to see, that doesn't mean that that social and emotional milestones don't exist. This is believed to be birth to 2 years old, and it's very important for the child. The child's social and emotional milestones are very important. Children learn about themselves, others around them, and how to mimic people, how to become self-assertive. The last developmental milestone is the communication. And like I said, that's derived from birth, that they actually are capable of understanding a great deal of the language. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the theories and stages. Basically, as you see on my screen right now, this is psychologist Gene. I'm going to probably pronounce these names wrong. I believe it's Pygent. These are his theories on cognitive cycles. He believed that it started out with a sensory motor stage. This was believed to be birth to 2 years old. And Pygent's theory believed that this was the earliest stage. According to Pygent's theory, there was a pre-operational stage that was ages 2 to about 5 years later, which I contribute that to be 7 years old. They learn symbolic play. Manipulation is learned in this stage. His next one was concrete operational. This is more the middle school age children, and they learn how to logically think. The formal operational stage, which is believed to be Pygent's last cognitive cycle, was they tend to think more advanced. These are more like college students, etc. And I'm still believing that I'm in that phase. Haha. As you see here, this is Erik Erikson. I'm going to talk a little bit about his preconceived notion of the psychosocial stage. He believes that his theories start and concentrate on the development over one's entire lifespan, unlike the Pygent, where he was believing that you had different phases. He believes in different stages as well, except for he believes that it goes over the entire lifespan and not to just a college-age student. His theories are trust versus non-trust. Erikson believes that this is probably the most important stage in a person's life, and it occurs somewhere between birth and 18 months. As one can imagine, a person receives trust and development, and that carries on to their entire lifespan. The next is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This is a self-control stage. Erikson's next one is the initiative versus guilt. Children learn to act out and learn control through play. Industrial versus inferiority, which is the basic skill of competence. And his last one is identity versus confusion, which this is a sense of self. One of the main elements of Erikson's psychosocial stage theory is the development of the ego identity. Ego identity is the conscious sense of self that we develop through social interaction, which is constantly changing due to new experiences and information we acquire in our daily interactions with others. That is also for my Cherry source, 2016. Most people know who this is. This is the father of psychology, and this is Sigmund Freud. Freud believed that personality is set in stone by the age of 5. He feels like that if there's failure through one of his stages, it causes fixation, which actually causes some pretty psychological problems later on in life. Sorry for that long pause. I've been sick, so I go through coughing fits. So he believes in the psychosexual stages. These are oral, anal, phallic, latent, and genital stages. Freud believed that personality developed through a series of childhood stages in which the pleasure-seeking energies of the id become focused on certain, I never can say that word right, anyway, areas. Basically with Freud, I can't say, I do realize he's the father of psychology, but I can't say that I actually agree with all of his theories. He believes a lot into sexual contact. That has a lot to do with everything. I'm not so certain I believe that that is everybody's prime learning, but I'll carry on with this. The next slide is a quote. It says the individual makes a clear effort to define moral values and principles that have validity and application apart from the authority of the groups of persons holding them and apart from the individual's own identification within the group. This is Lawrence Kohlberg, and Lawrence believed in moral development. Basically, he expanded on Pygant's theory that explained how children develop moral reasoning. The theory describes 3 overall levels of moral development. It can be broken into 6 stages. I will not go into all of those, but he does believe that there are pre-conventional morality, conventional morality, and post-conventional morality. And I went into these in my paper, but basically they talk about the different levels of moral reasoning. So as you see here is a sad child. So I basically touched on all of the background stages and theories that theorists had, and it led into, if there is all these theories and everything's applicable, then why is there childhood depression? Treatment begins with the parents, then at the school level. I won't touch a whole lot on that, just this is part of the reason why I am in the major I'm in. Here is a graph, I guess, that kind of shocked me, that in 2015, an estimated 3 million adolescents aged 12 to 17 in the United States had one major depressive episode in the past year. This represented 12.5% of the United States population aged 12 to 15. This is from the National Institute of Mental Health. This is staggering to me. I knew that there was a lot of depression, just not in the age group, possibly, that the depression shows in this graph. My biblical application on this is like this is Romans 8:18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that has been revealed to us. I 100% believe that God placed people like this class in this class for a reason, for the betterment of his kingdom. Here's Psalms 127:3-5. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him, like arrows in the hands of a warrior, and children born to one's youth. Blessed the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be put to shame when they contend with the other opponents in the court. So what exactly does all this mean? Child development is important to God, and that's important to me. Landrum quoted, psychology is an exciting profession with a positive and growing future. Basically, whether you look at the theorists or the current research, it's vital to the future on Earth. I feel that God called me to the profession. I feel that with all these theorists, there need to be some Christian counselors to invest not only in his word, but some time into our young. The development of our children rises up in our hands, but how can we help? I believe that we are all taking a first step to help by being in this class. Here are my references. I appreciate being in the class with you and all that we've learned. God bless.